Chapter 418 Younger brother. He was mostly wondering where Wang Donga had gone. Donga, where exactly have you gone? Even if you've forgotten everything, at least let me find you. Team leader. At this moment, a cold voice jolted Hua Yua awake from his thoughts. When he twisted his head, he saw Daluo looking intently at him. What? Is there something? Hua Yua asked. Can we go out and talk? Daluo asked. Hua Yua naturally knew what he wanted to do, but didn't reject his request. He stood up and said, all right. He didn't bring his spear along either, and walked out of the tent with Daluo empty-handed. When the two of them exited the house, their bunk started to bustle with noise. Many of the new soldiers started to talk among themselves. Hua Yua was unmoved, but Daluo's expression was more obvious. Do all of you think that the vice team leader is trying to challenge the team leader? It's possible. Look at the vice team leader. He seems confident. Didn't the large team leader mention earlier that as long as one's capable, he can become the team leader? It seems like the vice team leader is also very strong, since he dares to challenge the team leader even after the team leader performed today. Our bunk is indeed filled with hidden talents. At this moment, the sky outside had already turned completely dark. Daluo walked further away from the bunk, but Hua Yua still didn't ask him why. He just silently followed him. After leaving their camp, the two of them quickly came to the parade ground. Daluo stopped and turned to look at Hua Yua. Tang Dong, I'll not be around the bush. I hope that you'll give up your position as team leader to me. Hua Yua peacefully asked. Why should I? Daluo answered. I have to become the team leader. Don't ask me why. I just want this title. I can let you continue to run the first bunk. I'm not good at that. However, I'll definitely charge in front during our training and the imminent war. I believe that I'll be able to accumulate some merits and get promoted. When that happens, you'll still continue to be the team leader. What do you think? No. Hua Yua's answer was simple. He naturally understood that Daluo's goal was probably the same as his. They both wanted to start from the bottom and eventually become a high-ranking officer. It was just that he didn't have much time to linger around in the lower ranks. Either. Let's spar. If I win, you give up your position to me. How about that? Daluo could naturally guess that Hua Yua was going to be unwilling. However, he didn't expect Hua Yua to directly reject him without probing further. All right. Hua Yua's answer was as simple as before. He was going to quickly deal with Daluo before going back to meditate. It was getting late. Daluo was evidently infuriated by the direct and seemingly contemptuous tone of Hua Yua's voice. He shouted coldly before darting forward towards Hua Yua. He was indeed very quick. As a soul master's soul power increased, his body would also transform continuously, making him much stronger than an ordinary person. As he reached Hua Yua, he punched at Hua Yua's right shoulder. Hua Yua's body sank slightly, and he went into his horse stance, just like he had in the afternoon. Just as Daluo's fist was about to hit him, he pulled the left half of his body back slightly and avoided contact. Following this, he struck his right shoulder back towards Daluo's fist. Daluo only sensed a force slamming into him, and felt as if he had punched a steel plate. He staggered a few steps back before stabilizing himself, and a stunned look flashed across his eyes. During the afternoon, he could tell that Hua Yua's abilities weren't weak. However, he hadn't expected Hua Yua's strength to be above his. He wasn't going to let it go at that. However, after he staggered back, he immediately charged forward again. This time, he was much faster. He didn't punch this time, but used one hand to grab for Hua Yua's shoulder. This time, the look in his eyes was sharper. Hua Yua lifted his left hand and grabbed onto Daluo's hand. Daluo's right hand stopped halfway, and he tried to change its direction. However, Hua Yua's hand moved faster. Daluo felt everything turn blurry in front of him before Hua Yua grabbed hold of his wrist. When Hua Yua grabbed his right hand, he immediately tightened his grip on Daluo's wrist. With a pull, he threw Daluo up. Sensing danger, Daluo subconsciously activated his soul power. However, he only felt that Hua Yua's fingers were like steel fixtures tightening around his wrist and causing the lower half of his body to go numb. He was actually unable to gather his soul power because of this. There was much more movement this time. Daluo was directly slammed to the ground by Hua Yua. The parade ground was covered in soil. However, he was disoriented and felt as if his internal organs were tumbling inside his body when he was tossed to the ground. His bones were also on the verge of being crushed. This was, in part, due to his weight and inertia. Hua Yua let go of his wrist and shook his head. After this, he turned around and walked back towards their bunk. Daluo was embarrassed and furious as he shouted, "You, don't go." He gathered his soul power and crawled up from the ground. Hua Yua stopped before turning around to look at him. Let's go back. We still need to train tomorrow. I believe the training intensity for newly enlisted soldiers will not be slack. No. I have to defeat you. I'm sorry. Daluo suddenly shouted. After this, a layer of white light shone from his body. Suddenly, his body quickly grew larger, and his muscles became extremely thick. White strands of hair also started to emerge from his body, and his uniform almost burst from being too tight. This was the first time Hua Yua was surprised after entering this military camp. This martial soul that Daluo revealed was all too familiar to him. White tiger. It was a white tiger. No, something wasn't right. The aura of his white tiger was rather weak. Furthermore, the hair on his body was pure white, without any black stripes. In addition, this white tiger didn't possess the strange pupils of the white tiger family. Daluo. Suddenly, Hua Yua recalled why his name sounded so familiar. His. The way Hua Yua looked at Daluo immediately changed. It changed from indifference to earnesty. When he was still living in the Duke's mansion, there were a few people who were warm to him, apart from his own mother. There was a woman who was a concubine of the White Tiger Duke. This woman was yet another woman whom the wife of the White Tiger Duke hated. This woman treated both Hua Yua and his mother very well. In the first few years after Hua Yua was born, she would give them food and clothing. She had even carried Hua Yua before. After the wife of the White Tiger Duke found out about this, they lost contact with each other. Hua Yua was still very young then, which was why he didn't have a very deep memory of what had happened. However, he vaguely recalled that this concubine also had a child named Daluo. In terms of age, he should be 1 year younger than Yua himself. This guy in front of him didn't have a pure white tiger, and his name was also Daluo. Was he really his younger half-brother from the same father, but a different mother? In terms of age, Daluo was 1 year younger than him, if he was really the White Tiger Duke's son. As he remembered all this, Hua Yua's eyes turned wet. While he disliked Dai Yuheng and Dai Huabin, he only had affection for Daluo. Daluo's mother had once helped his own mother a lot. Otherwise, he would have died. After that, the White Tiger Duke's wife interfered, and they stopped seeing each other anymore. However, he would never forget the kindness she had shown to him and his mother. 3 soul rings rose from beneath Daluo's feet. 2 of them were yellow, while the last one was purple, the best combination that he could achieve. However, his talent seemed worse than his other 2 brothers, Dai Yuheng and Dai Huabin. Hua Yua was going to be 19 years old soon, which meant that Daluo was close to 18 years old. He only had 3 soul rings at the age of 18. For an ordinary soul master, he was considered quite strong. However, he was considered weak among the White Tiger Duke's lineage. At least, he wasn't able to excel in the Duke's mansion. I don't have to say anything else, do I? Although you are very strong, and I'm curious how you managed to achieve such strength. An ordinary person will always only be an ordinary person. You can't compare to soul masters like me. Concede defeat and relinquish your position as team leader. I'll help you in the future, and I won't snatch your authority away, either. Let's return and tell the large team leader that we are switching positions. I won't tell the others about this arrangement, either. What do you think? Daluo said with a sense of superiority. Hua Yua revealed a smile on his face, and thought to himself, this younger brother of mine isn't suited to be a soldier. He's not vicious enough. I can tell that from our sparring earlier and from the childish words he just said. Of course he could relinquish his position as team leader. However, he had to educate Daluo, since he had discovered that Daluo was his younger brother. Although Hua Yua didn't know why his white tiger wasn't pure, he could still help Daluo develop, given his current abilities. Come on. Hua Yua gestured towards him. Daluo couldn't believe it. I'm Soul Master. You still dare to fight me? Hua Yua smiled. Soul Masters aren't invincible. If you defeat me, I'll let you be the team leader. Daluo snorted. All right then. Watch out. As he spoke, he suddenly charged towards Hua Yuao. After unleashing his martial soul, his speed and strength had greatly increased. He was a 3-ring soul elder, and wasn't even considered in the intermediate tier of soul masters. However, he was still pretty decent. His white tiger was mutated, but it was ultimately still the king of beasts. He unleashed a powerful aura, and his soul power surged. Without using any soul skills, Daluo reached Hua Yuao in the next instant, and grabbed onto his shoulders with his tiger claws. Hua Yuao furrowed his brow. Suddenly, he quickly pulled his right leg up and kicked Daluo's chest. He was so quick that he even seemed to form shadows along the way. Daluo's tiger claws were about to grab Hua Yuao's shoulders when he was kicked 7 to 8 meters away, and collapsed to the ground before he could touch Hua Yuao. Hua Yuao frowned and said, "Are you trying to defeat me with the kind of skills you are showing? Soul masters aren't everything. It still depends on the person. I'm now your opponent, and I think you are being too soft. Are you a girl? You." Daluo crawled up from the ground and glared furiously. "How dare you say I'm a girl?" He charged forward once again, and his first soul ring shone. He used his white tiger's shield, which was the most common first soul skill of a white tiger. A layer of white light shone from his body and protected him. This time, Hua Yuao discovered the difference between Daluo's white tiger and a conventional white tiger. A conventional white tiger was filled with might and dominance after unleashing its soul skill. However, Daluo's white tiger was filled with spirituality after he unleashed his white tiger's shield. His spiritual aura suddenly became very strong and blended with his soul power. It actually felt as if his spiritual and soul power had fused together. This was only a situation that occurred when one used an advanced self-created fighting skill. Daluo burst towards Hua Yuao again. Either he was stubborn or confident. He did the same thing here before, reaching out towards Hua Yuao's shoulders. Hua Yuao stomped on the ground with his right foot. A low-pitched muffled sound echoed out, and Daluo felt a tremor coming from underneath his feet. He was thrown a few meters into the air. As he rose into the air, his claws naturally didn't reach their target. Hua Yuao took a step forward and pressed his right hand against Daluo's chest. Daluo's white tiger shield started to shine with white light in a bid to push Hua Yuao away. However, it was a pity that he couldn't do so in the face of absolute strength. Not to mention that his soul power was nowhere near great enough. In the next instant, Daluo flew back again. He didn't collapse on the ground this time, with his white tiger's shield protecting him. Instead, he staggered more than 10 steps backward. This time, Daluo's expression finally turned serious. If Hua Yuao's fighting abilities were merely outstanding and he had underestimated his opponent earlier, then it wasn't just a coincidence this time. His opponent wasn't a soul master, but had managed to force him back twice in a row. Hua Yuao's terrifying strength couldn't be underestimated anymore. Watch out! I'm going to get serious now. Daluo shouted. His aura suddenly changed, and his white hair started to look shinier. The spiritual undulations that Hua Yuao had sensed earlier also became much stronger. Daluo leapt forward again as his figure flashed. However, he suddenly changed directions in the air this time and landed in a spot diagonally 3 meters to Hua Yuao's left. He instantly sprang forward again, and his speed soared. He turned into a projection and immediately reached behind Hua Yuao. He deftly grabbed Hua Yuao's shoulder with one claw while he reached for Hua Yuao's waist with his other claw. Whether it was in terms of speed, strength or technique, he used them very well this time. Hua Yuao smiled slightly. At least this guy has some skill. He didn't turn around. He waved his hands back at the same time to block Daluo's claws and grabbed them. Daluo was stunned and thought to himself, "Are you really an ordinary person without a martial soul who can fight me in terms of strength even after I've unleashed my martial soul?" He didn't pull his claws away. Instead, he exerted his strength and attempted to drag Hua Yuao down. Hua Yuao didn't move a single inch. Daluo saw Hua Yuao's hands turn completely white before a huge force drove into him. Suddenly, he was flung from behind Hua Yuao, back to his front, and flew in the air for a few seconds. Daluo didn't fall like the last 2 times. As he roared out, his third soul ring shone, and his body grew larger. It was his white tiger's verge transformation. His figure enlarged once again, and the uniform he was in burst open. The hair on his body was now covered with a layer of gold. He extended his claws and reached towards Hua Yuao's hands. Hard. This was the only feeling that Daluo had. He had already used his white tiger's verge transformation, but his opponent's palms seemed to be even harder than his claws. This was beyond his comprehension. How is this possible? Are these human hands? As Daluo was trying to get over his shock, Hua Yuao pulled his right hand back before pushing it forward hard. Daluo was thrown back once again. His strength is greater than my white tiger's verge transformation. Is he still human? After Daluo landed on the ground, he didn't rush to attack Hua Yuao. He only stared at him intently and tried to size him up. Hua Yuao calmly said, "Now you know that a martial soul isn't everything." Daluo snorted and said, "I haven't given my all yet. Furthermore, only your technique is good. You can't break through my defense." Hua Yuao laughed. "Do you really think so? Do you really think that I can't overcome your defense? Watch carefully then." As he spoke, Hua Yuao made the first move for the first time in this fight. He charged towards Daluo with long strides. He still didn't use any soul power, but he was already pretty quick. Daluo stared at him sternly, and the golden light from his body became stronger and stronger. Seeing that Hua Yuao was about to reach him, Daluo wanted to exert his strength. However, Hua Yuao suddenly disappeared in front of him. Daluo felt a large hand strangling his neck. Before he could even struggle, a strong tingling and numbing feeling spread throughout his body. His soul power couldn't circulate anymore, and the hair on his body quickly faded away. He returned to his original appearance within a breath. Of course, there were still some broken pieces of cloth on his body right now, which helped to cover vital parts of his body. Hua Yuao swung his hand and threw Daluo off to one side. He shook his head gently as he looked at him before he walked back towards their bunk. "Wait here for me. I'll go get some clothes for you." Daluo was stunned as he watched Hua Yuao slowly leave. He seemed to lose focus in his eyes, and an indescribable sense of frustration caused him to turn pale. Hua Yuao's judgment was right. He was indeed the youngest son of the white tiger Duke Daihao. This meant that he was Hua Yuao's younger half-brother. When he was young, his martial soul had mutated. Although his white tiger was awakened, it was different from Dai Yueheng and Dai Huabin's white tiger. Daluo's mother was greatly suppressed in the Duke's mansion, even though her status was slightly higher than that of Hua Yuao's mother. She wasn't in a much better condition. Daluo had always wanted to become a powerful soul master. He wasn't any less hardworking than Dai Yueheng and Dai Huabin. However, it was much more difficult to cultivate with his mutated martial soul than expected. He wasn't able to enter Shrek Academy because he didn't reach rank 20 by the time he was 12 years old. He was the white tiger Duke's son. Given Dai Hao's character, how would he let him get in through back channels? Under such circumstances, he could only work hard at his cultivation. However, he was already going to turn 18, and yet his soul power was only at rank 32. He was already considered quite good among ordinary soul masters and was able to become a soul elder before he was 20 years old, which meant that not all hope was lost. It was a pity that he wasn't any ordinary soul master. He was the white tiger Duke's son. His cultivation wasn't much to be raved about. Dai Hao was also very busy with military matters and didn't have time to guide him. In order to seek a breakthrough and become as strong as his father, Daluo silently left his home and joined the military. Of course, there was an even more important reason why he was here. Daluo only felt as if all of his hopes had been extinguished as he sat there in a daze on the ground. He initially thought that he should still have an edge over others in the military, even if he couldn't compare to his brothers. Today, he managed to become a private first class, which gave testament to this belief of his. However, he was dealt a huge blow after his fight against Hua Yuao. He couldn't even defeat an ordinary person, although he used a 1,000-year soul skill. What other hope did he still have, let alone becoming a hero like his father? He wasn't even qualified to be a small team leader. Just as he was imagining things, Hua Yuao returned with a military uniform. Change into this. He passed the uniform to Daluo. Daluo just sat where he was without reacting. Hua Yuao smiled and sat down beside him. "Are you unconvinced, or is it too huge a blow for you after losing to me?" Hua Yuao asked. Daluo remained silent. Hua Yuao said, "If you are unconvinced, I welcome you to challenge me anytime. I'll let you be the small team leader if you can beat me anytime you want. If this is a huge blow for you, I only have one question to ask you. How old are you? What do men rely on in this world? Men don't rely on cowardice, but resilience. If you can't be resilient, how can you be qualified to be a soldier? If you can't beat me, aren't you going to work hard to catch up? You'll only be regarded as a piece of trash if you simply give up on yourself like this. You'll be eliminated by this world. If that's the case, it'd be better for you to return home, buy a plot of land, and start tilling. You can still live a stable life." Daluo twisted his head and glared at Hua Yuao. Hua Yuao's expression looked very leisurely right now. He didn't have any feelings towards the rage that Daluo currently felt towards him. "I'll defeat you one day." Daluo clenched his fist. Who are you chortled? If you can defeat me one day, you'll definitely become a successful person. Daluo was scornful. So what if I defeat you? I must become a titled Douluo. You aren't even a soul master. How can you be my target? Who are you said, don't be too ambitious. Defeat me first. As he spoke, he passed the uniform that he was holding over again. Daluo took the uniform this time and quickly got dressed. After that, he leapt up. I was distracted today. I'll challenge you again tomorrow. After he finished speaking, he started walking back towards their camp. Who are you said to his back. It's fine if you want to challenge me. However, you'd better prepare some clothes for tomorrow. Everyone only has 2 uniforms. Daluo went rigid for a moment before he quickened his pace back. When Who are you returned to their bunk, most of the soldiers were already sleeping because they were tired. However, there were those who were still awake, too. Wang Xiodian was one of them. When Who are you returned, Wang Xiodian silently crept up to him and whispered, "Boss, what happened? Did the vice team leader challenge you?" Who are you nodded. Wang Xiodian chuckled and said, "I can tell that you won." Who are you laughed as he asked, "How so?" Wang Xiodian replied. The vice team leader wore a gloomy look on his face when he returned. After that, he covered himself with his blanket and just sat on his bed. "I don't know what he's doing." Who are you replied. "All right, you should go and sleep. Tomorrow's training isn't going to be easy. You still have time to be involved in gossip." "Yes, I'll go and sleep immediately. Boss, I'll follow you in the future." Wang Xiodian quickly snuck back to his bed to sleep. Who are you also lay down on his bed, but he didn't enter deep meditation immediately. Rather, he was thinking how he could help Daluo improve his abilities. The night went on silently. The next morning, the sound of a horn rang out to gather everyone as the first hint of dawn tinged the sky. Who are you was the first to jump out of bed, and he woke up all the new recruits from the first bunk. All the recruits were whining as they got up, but quickly donned their uniforms before running out. Daluo followed along. He had covered himself in his blanket the night before and was in deep meditation. In the morning, he seemed pretty energetic, apart from the fact that he looked a little pale. He didn't even glance at Who are you and directly left their bunk. The initial training for recruits was simple and boring. It was either running or drills. In the afternoon, there was someone from the military law department who came to talk to them about military law. The recruits were exhausted after an entire day of this. After dinner, even the energetic Wang Xiodian immediately fell asleep. Who are you and Daluo were the exceptions. After dinner, Who are you gestured towards Daluo when the sky had turned completely dark, and before Daluo could issue a challenge, he smiled and said, "Let's go. I'll give you another chance today. Let's go." Daluo immediately sprang up. As a soul master, the recruit training wasn't too tiring for him. The two of them left the camp and went to the parade ground once again. To prevent detection, Who are you dragged Daluo to a corner of the parade ground. "Come on." Who are you gestured towards Daluo. Daluo had pondered yesterday's bitter experience as he carried on with his training during the day. He thought about it for the entire day. He believed that he had lost to Who are you because he had been careless. He wasn't going to repeat the same mistake twice. This was why he was especially cautious today. In his opinion, he wouldn't lose to Who are you if he was more careful. However, was this really the case? Who are you didn't have any intention of initiating an attack, and thus Daluo had to be the proactive one. After observing carefully, he felt that Who are you had many flaws. His second soul ring shone, and a streak of white light shot out from his mouth towards Who are you. It was his white tiger's fierce light wave. When his white tiger's fierce light wave was shot out, it took the shape of a halo and spread out. In terms of offensive strength, his fierce light wave was naturally weaker than Daiyuheng or Daihuadin's fierce light wave. However, his fierce light wave covered a larger area, and it even carried a spiritual type attack with it. It was a pity that no one at the same level could compare to Who are you in terms of spiritual power, which meant that Daluo was naturally inferior to Who are you in this aspect. 2. Who are you's figure flashed, and he instantly turned illusory in Daluo's eyes. Daluo was astonished. He had clearly locked onto his opponent before unleashing his soul skill, but he still missed. Who are you promptly reappeared in front of him. As you squatted down, Daluo's tiger claws extended out, and he clawed towards Who are you's chest. Who are you stopped charging forward and lifted his right foot. Instantly, he kicked both of Daluo's wrists. As Daluo's hands went numb, Who are you kicked out again, and Daluo was knocked into the air before he crashed to the ground 5 meters away. Daluo was able to take beatings after unleashing his white tiger, and he had been thinking about how he could deal with Who are you for an entire day. As for Who are you, he was thinking of the fastest way to make his younger brother stronger. After pondering for some time, he thought that the best method was to copy the bluish gold figure that he had faced in the Yin Yang Love Querying Valley. Thrash him. He was going to give Daluo a good thrashing. It was only after a good thrashing that Daluo would remember this lesson for life. If he remembered this lesson for life, his abilities would naturally improve. As a result, Who are you's plan was to conduct individual training with Daluo every night during this recruit training period. Daluo's tragedy started the moment Who are you recognized him. At the very start, he didn't believe that he couldn't defeat an ordinary person as a soul master. However, as time passed, Who are you was always able to defeat him using his strength and speed no matter what methods he used. Who are you knew his limits, though. He hit Daluo without causing him any real injuries. A recruit's life was plain and exhausting, or at least this was the case for most recruits. Most of the recruits were fatigued because of the high intensity training they were being subjected to. However, Daluo's life was very exciting. If being hit and battered all the time could be considered exciting, Who are you stood out during his recruit training. He was the best in almost every training component. The recruits in the first bunk were slowly won over by him because of his ability and the occasional help of his spiritual power. Who are you would also teach the new recruits some of the simpler techniques from the Tang Sect and guide them in their training. His reputation in the first bunk slowly rose. Under his leadership, the first bunk, or rather the first small team, performed the best among all the small teams. Let's go. Night fell, and it was time again. Who are you walked to Daluo's side and patted his shoulder. Every night, the two of them would go out. Who are you had come up with an excuse, which was that they were reporting to the large team leader. Daluo shuddered slightly and lifted his head to look at Who are you. There was a complex look in his eyes. 1 month had already passed out of the 3 months of their recruit training. He had also been beaten up by Who are you for a month. It was pathetic. The only comfort he had was that Who are you was still kind enough to not hit his face, meaning he was still presentable in front of others. However, it wasn't a good feeling being thrashed for a month. Every time Daluo saw the genial smile on Who are you's face, he couldn't help but shudder. It was like a recurring nightmare at this time every night. I'm not going. Daluo smacked Who are you's hand away. Who are you sat down beside his bed and smiled. Why? Are you throwing a tantrum? Daluo glared at him, but didn't say anything. Who are you sighed faintly. It's fine if you don't want to go. I'm going to find the large team leader and tell him you're a soul master. He spoke very softly so that only Daluo could hear him clearly. You. Daluo glared furiously at Who are you. Who are you smiled. I have a sandbag to punch every night. It's become a pleasant habit for me. You'll defeat me if you're capable. Why is a big man like you acting as if you're a coward? Yet again. Daluo shut his eyes in pain. It wasn't his first time rejecting Who are you. However, Who are you would threaten him with his vulnerability every time, even though he knew that he shouldn't be duped. His identity as a soul master was a double-edged sword. If he couldn't defeat an ordinary person like Who are you, how would he have the face to tell anyone he was a soul master? Let's go. Daluo suddenly stood up, infuriated as he walked out of their bunkhouse. Who are you smiled as he followed him. He even took the initiative to grab Daluo's shoulder and drag him towards the parade ground. After a few steps, Who are you lifted his head slightly and revealed a smile on his face. Indeed, they knew each other. Using his spiritual power, he watched where they were walking. Who are you brought Daluo to the same old place, a remote corner of the parade ground. Daluo struggled and pushed Who are you's hand away. Before even saying anything, he kicked towards Who are you's head. He hated Who are you. Not only did Who are you beat him up every day, but he would even use words to agitate him. Who are you waved his right hand and blocked Daluo's leg. His right leg kicked out extremely quickly and subtly, managing to hit the ankle of Daluo's supporting leg. Daluo lost his balance and fell backward. However, he unleashed his white tiger as he fell back, supporting himself with his right hand before propping himself back up. After this, he shot out his white tiger's fierce light wave at Who are you. Who are you could already guess what he was trying to do. Just as Daluo unleashed his fierce light wave, Who are you disappeared and somehow arrived at Daluo's side. He cut down with his right leg, aiming at Daluo's chest. Daluo roared, and his third soul ring was unleashed before he even finished using his fierce light wave. His body expanded greatly, and his claws crossed each other as they slashed towards Who are you's right leg. His claws were extremely sharp, and it was plain that he wanted to tear Who are you's right leg to pieces. A soft exclamation sounded from afar. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.